可以了吗 ？Okay. So anyway, reverences and then upasaka, upasika, and friends. I think anyway, good evening. I think so anyway, 大家好，这个晚上好。So I think all right. I think maybe I would just talk about something about this thing. Compassionate, I guess, a little bit about compassionate, and then and also this meditation on this compassionate how that will conduce us to, and what are the benefit that would be. Okay. 那么简单说，就是我大概这一次跟大家讲一讲这个悲，好，这个功德是什么？那么悲呢，本身修悲定呢，对我们有什么益处？好，那 so and anyway, I like to just say, I mean, because actually they stir up this question because someone asked me. It looks like when the Buddha, before he was a Buddha, he practiced this bodhisattva path, and so people who are familiar with the Buddhism, in the bodhisattva path, there is in Chinese usually or some other tradition based on the say other traditions will say about 6 paramita, 6 perfections. But then, of course, in Pali we say the 10 perfections. But I'm not going to say the Pali because too many. But the 6 perfections there, that's one of the perfections. There's no any perfection looks like that's to do with the compassionate. But if you look at this Chinese, the Pali the perfections, the 10 of the 10 number, 10 of perfection. One of them is the last one. Usually we mention as the last one is the loving kindness perfections. 就简单说，就是因为今天一个学员问起说，这个悲观啊，如果这么重要的话，为什么在佛陀就是在修菩萨行里面就是在当菩萨的时候，为什么没有这个所谓的这个悲波罗蜜？因为在先讲在南传里面的巴利赞的记载呢，佛陀实际上是修10波罗蜜。10波罗蜜里面的最后一个波罗蜜呢，就是个悲，这个不是，就是那个慈的波罗蜜，慈心的波罗蜜。那但是不管我们在讲，但是在里面除了慈心波罗蜜，那其余的那个6个波罗蜜都是跟这个汉译或者说应该说说为却有部，所谓小乘佛的说为却有部，包括这个叫什么？这个就是这个大乘佛教都好，就讲6波罗蜜就是为什么没有悲波罗蜜。And but I like to say that of course it's according to even in the Pali tradition, of course for sure even in the Mahayana also, but I would just say even so-called people think that so-called Hinayana school and then or so-called small vehicle school, they also talk about when they say they also say that someone actually practiced compassion, but then up to the great compassion to become so-called the patient paramita, okay, patient perfection of the patience. So 简单说呢，不管怎么样，就算甚至在一般从一个不同的传统来看，因为他们都认为巴利赞都是小乘的从这个角度来看呢，就算他在谈到这个，当然当他谈到这个所谓的忍辱波罗蜜的时候呢，讲得非常清楚的，一定要从悲修到大悲而成就了忍辱波罗蜜那么简单说或者直接讲，就是如果要成就忍辱波罗蜜，是一定要有悲心的这个了解So 当然这个不用说，在大乘经典肯定也是一样说法的那我就不用讲，我只是用这个来强调说，实际上就算在人家所认为的这个所谓小乘的经教里面，都是这么提Okay, so and in other words, mean the compassion, it is certainly either you practice whatever the Hinayana you call arahantship maybe, I like to use that to attain arahant, or you just practice compassion, attain nothing, just have a wonderful life. No, it doesn't sound like you want a wonderful life. Anyway, and then if you just practice the compassion, maybe just even you know that your aim is to become a Buddha one day as a Mahayana way of inspiration. So, I mean, you still actually this compassion is one of the very important quality of the mind you have to cultivate. Okay. 那么简单说，就是不管你在修哪一乘的话，就算你修什么所谓的你要修罗汉道，这个听起来罗汉道不太好听，我们一般讲声闻乘，听起来比较好听一点哈。就修声闻乘，或者你要修菩萨道哈，然后一直到你想成佛，那么这个悲心还是要修的。当然还有另外一个，我就讲，就是你在修这个人天乘也是一样哈。You know, that's one of the things actually even in the Pali text. So, and especially in the commentary, and said that when someone actually when they practice compassion is like what? If you can practice compassion, consolidate your compassion, and become very strong, and it become like in other words, as I just say, you have to rain all the time. So it is just like a stair, a golden. Stair is not very nice. What is the word for in English or like a pavement? Yeah, like a golden pavement. In the Greek story, like a golden Greek pavement directly to the heavens of the Brahma. Hello. Again, you say. Why don't you say to the Nibbana? So, huh? No, I'm not saying a ladder, but I mean, well, anyway, yeah, it's a fine ladder. But anyway, it's a way. It's something that you build a connection already. So directly, actually, you can go to the Brahma world. Okay, just let me finish that in Chinese. So difficult. I have to shift my mind and thinking what. So please have compassion towards me. Compassion towards. 简单说就是，那么就是这个在佛经里面哈，不管怎么说哈，我还有一个没说的，就是当然了，还有就是，如果实际上当你有这个悲心的时候，当然这个悲心慢慢它会成就忍辱，我等一下会多说哈。这样子实际上这个成就忍辱呢，就是你是建立的，而且当然你能稳定下来的时候，已经是成为你的生命的一部分了。你已经建立了一个石阶，不是石阶，叫金阶，用金做的。金子做的哈的这个阶梯，直接通往到梵天去。Okay. I mean, for you guiding Brahma word, well, but actually, I wish today I'm in the church now. I will tell them, you want to go to Creator word, you want to see the God. There's one secret there. Of course. They don't like this, but you have to cultivate this compassion, and not just cultivate, because when I say cultivate, that's why Buddhism is very clear. Like yesterday and day before yesterday, I tried to stress the word cultivation, bhavana, right? It means of deep meanings. Mean you practice, but that to a certain level of focus there, samadhi. Okay, so anyway, that's it's also mentioned in Buddhism. So it's interesting, in other words, you must also understand the background in India. So when the Buddha was arise, usually I like to use the word arise in the world, and then he chose India, the boundary of Indian. I guess but I think is one reason is because India is so free. You can have any free thought. And it's not like nowadays, even in America, if you're born here, people are going to kill you. What? You're talking something is not against my will. But no, you can talk anything you like to. So especially in those days, very free, okay? And also everybody are interested about the mind. What happened with the mind, how you can do with the mind. And that's very interesting. Anyway, he was born there, and that time actually the whole background was all Indian, even now. So they think there's a creator God, and there's a God that called Brahma, okay? Of course, if you look at the Indian history, of course, then certain time they don't like to talk Brahma, they like to talk about Shiva, and in a certain time they don't like to talk Shiva, they talk Krishna, right? But then unfortunately, when they talk about Krishna, when they love Shiva, and they start, not all region of India, but most part of India become widespread, and then we talk about the Shiva, and then they will start to make some story, make fun of the Brahma. The Brahma loves Shiva's wife, and then he, also this kind of story comes along. Anyway, But we have to understand during the Buddha's time, it's just a name, Brahma. It means someone that when in Indian concept is the God in there is created the universe. That's how the Indian concept. Okay. Where's my Chinese now?简单讲就是我们要了解，我应该是从这边开始是吧 ？Anyway， 要了解就是在佛教里面，就是要了解就是这个所谓创造主，当然就叫梵天了。而且在印度里面呢，到现在还是一样认为有一个创造主哈。当然呢，虽然在印度现在呢把创造主这个名字有所改变哈，他认为这个创造主不应该把它认为是梵天，应该把它叫做湿婆神，或者在某一个时代把它叫做这个克里斯那哈。但不管怎么样，我们要了解就是说，在佛陀的时代，这个名字是把它叫梵天啊，就是把它叫 Brahma， 就叫梵天。Okay. So you have to understand that concept is actually to Indian people. They always in those days during the Buddha's time, they always want to do a lot of sacrifice, a lot of devotion, right? To that, in order to what? To be pleased by the Brahma God, and then whatever kind of very complicated Indian theory, but basically mean they want to be there, okay, when they die. That is no doubt, okay. And but the Buddha saying this, firstly, it's very important that have to be that the way that to go to the heaven from the Buddha or even to the Creator God places is have to be really settled down by when you're here. You can do really, really good thing. And also your mind has to be really, really powerful. Okay, so that's and then not because of that, it doesn't sound only just demanding. It's actually it's also, I mean, from what we believe in the Buddha is the most, wise, the most powerful person, beings in the world and in the universe. So he knows that actually to go there, the main thing, maybe there are many ways, but the main core is this kind of mind has to be cultivated. Okay, so and then that includes your patience, that includes your compassion. That the compassion will be up to a point that you can be so compassionate that you don't separate whether that people is good person or bad person. Up to that point, you see everyone actually is equal. That's very clear mentioned in text that no. So there's no, for that person, the compassion was so strong that there is no difference between the bad person and the good person. Okay. I mean, it's very hard for some people to understand, but that's mean. But for Buddhism have many ways to teach you how you to do that. But anyway, so that is that mean if when your mind is so strong with the compassionate, so and that in other words mean you call that mean patience. Called shanti, okay. In Sanskrit, kanti in Pali, okay. So our name, Sagara Kanti, it means that, So be patient, and actually that build up from the compassion, right? And then, so, okay, let me say the Chinese. Where I stop also? I used to do that, but now I didn't do that for a long time, so that's my attachment. And that makes me now lost my ability. 谁记得在中文讲到哪里？ No, that would be difficult for me to. Anyway, I would just say the Chinese word that I remember. 简单说就是，如果一个人呢，在这个忍辱这个悲心呢，如果有办法修持到哈，那么对众生都不会分别的话，没有分别，已经修到当下来说，没有对这个众生有这个好跟坏的这个概念，没有这个概念都不升起哈。那么当然这也是大悲的一种哈。那这样的话呢，这个就是叫忍辱了，这叫忍辱。所以佛教的忍辱呢，并不是一种概念说，是一种忍，但是呢，它并不是一种概念说， 我就是非得要忍这样子，它已经是一种，已经没有分别这个众生它是好跟坏，这样当然这个有些对很多人可能比较难理解。那么当你做到这样的程度的时候，所以说呢，那么这样当然就是这个境界呢已经建立起来了，对吧？这个所以就简单你也可以这么讲，就是这个其实这种人他们都可以投身到梵天去，而是印度人梦寐以求的All right, and then that's also related to one of the texts. And then once the king, actually that Buddhism have a lot of usually it's during the time about from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, before 2 o'clock. That means 10 at night to 2 o'clock. So sometimes it is believed that in the Buddhist text that sometimes, not all the time, otherwise he will be too busy. Like the heavenly being will come down to ask the Buddha some question. Okay, so this is interesting actually. When I mention this, I like to mention this because usually people, American here, when they study Buddhism, they completely don't want to mention this, ignore this, put that aside. But in the Buddhist text, actually there are many, and then the heavenly being come down to ask the Buddha a question. And one of the, actually that time it was today we mentioned the heavens, it's called this, what's the name in English now? 倒立天 in English is what? No, 33天是什么? Anyway, there's one in heaven above the Yamaka, and then he's the king of that heaven, and he came down to ask this question. I think my understanding, he came down to ask this question has much to do. He wanted to know how he can be. He knew that he is not the highest heaven, so he wanted to go higher, something like that. Anyway, he didn't ask the Buddha at that time. The Buddha passed away. And he asked one of the monks, who's an arahant, he asked him a few questions. And one of the questions he was asking, basically, how one can take, if somebody really abuse you verbally or abuse you, here he say abuse you verbally, that you still, you still can manage, but then this arahant replied that so you have to practice this so-called patience, and then from there he addressed that when you practice the patience, right? So think about this thing, but which is I think is very useful. Sometimes we can be patient, so to certain things like have a lot of compassion. You can accept it, but you're thinking, I think he's do that. He scored me. He used some language I don't like, or whatever that anyway you don't like, whether it was right or correct. Right? So but you can be patient about that because that person is more powerful than you. Or like say that, like if it's my parents, right? Use the language to me, I can be patient about that, right? But you can be patient about that when the parents scold about you. Okay. Why? Because out of respect. You don't want to retort, right? Okay, this is a kind of compassion and patience there, but still it's not enough. So, and sometimes we also can be patient with the persons that like equal to us, like we work together, and then but equal to us. It's not like because of parents to a son, or so equal to us. We can be patient because why? Because we don't want to stir up the unhappy atmosphere, right? But trust me, nowadays, I don't think so. Very hard for a lot of people. Who care? I want to get what I want. It's important. So, and that's definitely is not the Buddhist understanding and practice patience. In other words, mean practice compassion. So, but actually, the difficult one, the most difficult, this is why it means that you need a great compassion. I mean, you must have a deep compassion in order to become really a patience, paramita, a perfection of patience, is when the people are lower than you, at least in your mind, when they say lower. You know what I mean by equal? It means if I fight him, you fight back, But if you know that people will fight him, he would never fight back like that, But it can be anybody in the life, right? You know what I'm saying? So, and then when these people are lower than you, when they use a language to tell you, it's very hard to accept it. Okay, it's very hard to accept. So, but we have to, that's what I want, you have to develop, consolidate your patience to the people even lower than you, and even how much they abuse you, and with the language, you still have to develop this compassion, and then when that compassion, you can really take it in a way so your compassion still can be continually there, and then that is called the patience. Hello? No? And let me, I forgot Chinese actually. Next time, pray Sagalananda. What did I say? Huh? OK， 简单的说就是，这中文很抱歉啊，都是简单版哈。简单版就是，简单的说就是因为那个一般那个我们也知道，从这个传统上说到晚上10点钟到大概早上2点，有时候很多这个天神呢都会下来问佛陀。当然这个经里面是记载，他们下来的时候不是问佛陀，那是问一个阿罗汉啊。那这个是谁下来？而且他不是一般的人啊，有时是一般的天神。那这个时候啊，是一个在第4天，第4天实际上就是33天的这个的最大的一个天神，然后就是他统帅那个世界。他下来问呢，就是问了3个问题。那其中最后一个问题呢，他实际上就问到说，有哪一种人，他实际上呢可以忍受得了一个人如果他辱骂他，对，那么他实际上他问的问题是要知道这个心是一个怎么样的人。有谁的人真的是可以忍受得了这个人家的辱骂你呢？都比你低。当然你知道这样的问的话，很明显就是第10天一定是才能遇到这个问题。他一定要很难受，不知道怎么去做但是他也是个天神当然下面呢他是最大嘛，当然下面就是代表人一定会有，这是我的猜测那么当然也包括了他要怎么让他自己提升，他死后他还可以到更高的天去这一定也有关系要不然他才管你的，你把你干掉就好了，是不是？对。那么这个时候呢，那个我当然我顺便也提到说，实际上呢，我们佛教也有很多实际上这种天神问佛陀很多问题，他们问的问题都非常的尖锐，非常的尖锐。那么当然这个我也讲了，就是说在美国学佛的概念不太一样，因为他们会把这些东西全部省略了掉，他们都是谈什么涅槃啊、修行啊、空性啊，就是这些但是那么也把我们佛教里面谈到神性的问题，其实都完全把它几乎一脚把它踢到一个干净净那么所以常常变成在美国学佛这个佛教里面是用一个无神论的方式来去谈佛教的用无神论那个角度来谈佛教。当然这个有可能也涉及到中国也是一样，在古代有可能也是比较接近这样。那么 anyway， 那么在这里呢，就是他的回答。那么那个比丘就回答，那个阿罗汉就回答，他说：那么如果一个人呢，但一个人当然忍辱这个还是可以做得到，比较容易做得到，因为在一个尊敬的方面，对于一个人比他高的人、上的人，因为就像爸爸妈妈，就是我的例子说，像爸爸妈妈骂你的时候，因为你是个小孩嘛，你是因为尊敬，你就是忍辱嘛，忍在那里，对那。其实他也要告诉你，基本上有时候这个悲心你也是应该要这样子去提起来就对。那当一个人跟你同等的人，你也是可能是为了不想要伤和气对你自己不利或怎么样，你也会忍下来 但是对于一个呢，在这个权益上，或者就是这个叫做权利嘛，就在权利或者是在那个它是比你低等的，那么就意思说你实际上你是可以欺负他的啦，这么说好了，对啊，你是可以欺负他的，那么你会怎么样呢？那就是实际上呢，没有了，他没有说怎么样，当然会怎么样我们就知道，你就是欺负他嘛。但是呢，如果你都可以对他忍辱的话你都可以跟他忍辱，或者说跟他洗这个杯呢，跟他忍辱的话呢，那么这样的话呢，那你这个忍辱呢，这个人呢就建立起来了，这样那么换句话说，我们想嘛，我们一般人就是不是上的，比我高的，就是跟我同等的，要不然就比我低的，有没有？那么上面的你要这样子了解，跟你同等你要这样了解，下面的当然如果你都能跟他做得到忍辱，那你就忍辱波罗蜜就可以做到。那么重点是要说明，就是说这样子的话，当然是你的这个本身的悲很深，那么当然也是说你的忍辱也很好。那这里我们要了解，在佛教来看，如果你都是可以这样的话，你就已经建立了一个金的，我刚才说金的世界已经可以直接到梵天去了，了解吗 ？OK，so 这个可能对你们说没怎么样，因为今天你们都不是信神的。如果今天你是信神的，你就了解到这个重要。换句话说，再从一个在印度的这个背景来看这个天神这个创造主的地方，它下面的这个天神的这个天王，比它低一点的那个天堂的天王来问这个问题，了解吗？但是他这个比丘就回答他，告诉他，你如果简单说一个要怎么做，这种人就可以做到。如果他做到，这个世界就建立起来了 ，OK， 到梵天去这样 ，OK。Okay. So the compassion meditation, compassion is very, very powerful in a way that we establish this, the Shantiparamita, I mean the patience, a perfection of patience. And then the patient, of course, the most famous story, even in Buddha said that if that patience come to a very, very, very powerful, and then of course that helps your loving kindness too. That if you're able to do so, and then even if people trying to use a saw to cut your hand, like what is that horror movie in America? Texas Chainsaw. Of course, I think it's too much. The Texas Chainsaw, you still can practice your compassion meditation and let it cut it off without arise the hatred. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't should make this guy joke. But anyway, to the Buddhists, I remember once actually, not only one, but there was once I was invited to go to a synagogue, so and to talk about a little bit about Buddhism. And I remember that rabbi somehow after that he's conducting like the questions for the students. And then somehow he asked questions. I said, and he started to say about how Judaism, something about the people must have the compassion and love. Then he asked me how the Buddhism thing, and I don't know why somehow suddenly my mind was the flash about this text. It's a very famous text actually to encourage people how to practice four sublime abiding, and then I said, actually it's kind of rigid. Is it called rigid? Not rigid, radical. It's kind of radical in Buddhism. If you in the Western concept, it's very radical, because that it happens when the monk actually, when he was always associate with the nuns in those days, and then create many problems between the monks and nuns. You know what I mean. That comes from it. So. However, whatever, then the Buddha asked the monk later on, say, why you want to do so? Because aren't you to know that when you become a monk, your purpose is to practice, to practice to be good. You're not going to create any problem, And then it makes the people get angry. Almost the nun and the monk want to fight each other, You don't believe this thing happen? You don't believe? Okay.
It happens all the time.
It happens all the time, I'm sure, You know, it's very complicated. Can be jealous because this and that. Anyway, I'm not going to say that now. Story. So and then then he was quiet. But then the Buddha reminded him. Even I did say that. So even you need to practice up to even people use a saw to saw your limbs, and then you still not arise anger. But how can you, when some other monk suggests you a good thing, you get angry? Get it now? No. Get the point? So and then so I mean it's a kind of and maybe you think no, that might be just a simile. But according to the Buddhist belief, when someone practiced the Buddha like a Buddhist when he was before he became a Buddha, one life, I don't want to say the story long. Anyway, the king misunderstood. He was like flirting with his cucumber. Oh, forgive me, because I have to think about Chinese name. Not cucumber, concubine, right? And then the concubines, and and then and he got really jealous. That's why he really cut his as a bodhisattva, cut his hand, and he's still out of this compassion. That's what if actually it's out of compassion. And then also he practiced so-called that's mean in the patient perfection. So and then he just would not arise even one anger thought. So this is actually, however I'm sure this is anyway, not necessarily everybody accept this, but I think just take this as the speech, take it as one of the goal or idealism in Buddhism. That's how if we want to portray what is actually the idealism of Buddhism, that's one of the idealism of Buddhism. So if people wish, if they can cultivate this compassion in such a way, of course it means that everybody can cultivate this patience. Certainly a loss of problem will be solved. We get angry. I'm sure you know the reasons for many other things. For many other unnecessary reasons. 简单，我讲到哪里呢？简单讲，其实，在佛教里面呢，对于这个修这个悲波罗蜜不是悲波罗蜜，没有悲波罗蜜，讲错了，忍辱啦，对。但是我要讲就是，简单说就是在佛教有一次，简单讲，我到那个犹太教里面一个教堂，那他就问起这个问题说。这个佛教里面对于这个爱这个概念跟悲是怎么样的？这条件是怎么样的？那我就说，突然间因为这个，我脑子就出现一部经里面的说法那当然这部经的这个本来的这个因缘，就是因为有个比丘常常去跟比丘尼在一起，所以造成呢就很多疑惑、很多问题。很多问题的时候，这些比丘就劝其余的比丘就劝那个比丘，这个比丘就跟他骂起来。那么到了那些比丘又去劝那些比丘，你不要跟这个比丘常常在一起，因为会引起很多纠争嘛。但是那些比丘又骂那些比丘这样子，所以当然这个谁是问题啊？问题人就是那个比丘所以就这个比丘呢就后来就被召了去见佛陀，因为那些汇报给佛陀知道嘛。然后在汇报的时候，后来佛陀就问他：你究竟你来我这里的时候，你是为了要做什么对啊。然后他说，简单讲就出家你的会说，他说当然就是修放恨嘛。那么佛陀后来就讲了这个，就算是修放恨，你知道在我们这个在这个放恨修行里面，这个一个人就算你用锯子锯你的身体你都要修到，要能修到锯你的身体，你都不起一个嗔心这样子。那么所以当然这部经也是很有名，谈到这修这四无量心法的这一部经。那么这个我只是说这个讲到这个，实际上这里面也当然也是一种忍辱的成就。那这个课题其实谈到这些内容呢，怎么后来悲变成大悲，或者悲怎么成为一个忍辱呢？波罗蜜这个是其实你不管从大智度论从很多这个大乘经典都会有提到的。All right, maybe I like to say one thing is that okay. Beside that, actually, there's one question. one of the suggestions, even the Buddha once said, I like it very much. I don't mean I can do it, but I like it very much. It become sometimes reminded me. He said that actually we have to cultivate our compassion, just like we are just like a land, a field. So all these bad people, abuse us with the language or what, you have to take it just like a seed. Okay? Get it now? That's like a land, because this is one of the beautiful actually statements say that we have to regard our compassion. It should be like a land. Whatever people like a land, people throw everything like there. So and then you have to be just receive it. So 那我突然想到说，在佛教里面有一个很漂亮的一个说法哈。就是说，我们的世界上呢，我们一定要有这样的一种悲心，那个悲心呢，那么就要这个悲心要让它广大。简单说，这个就好像一片土地一样，其实土地上任何人呢，他能丢的肮脏东西，你都要接受。像你看现在，那个垃圾什么，你都要接受。这样，这个 the earth never complain，basically 就是地不会去抱怨这件事情。So I want to say this because, in other words, when you practice compassion meditation, you are not just practice samadhi and practice compassion meditation. And as I mentioned several times before, this compassion meditation is different from loving kindness meditation. But then the compassion meditation, however, has much more. In some way, it's very rich because it has a connection to the patient perfection. Okay? So 那简单讲就是我要讲就是因为当你在修这个时候呢，这个悲波罗蜜的时候，不是悲心的时候啊，其实呢，当你如果这个悲心观在修到，尤其对众生已经没有分所谓的好跟恶的，我是指说那个悲到已经是没有这种分悲心起到升到这样的话，实际上呢，你已经也是修习忍辱波罗蜜Okay. But I'm sure that in our daily life, that in other words also, so far we practice this the compassion, and then it developed as a very strong samadhi, and then with the understanding, with the wisdom also, understanding how a beings can be coming and going. In other words, you can have to be able to understand. You would not, the soul with the understanding that. Basically, because of that understanding, you would not differentiate they are good and bad, what kind of classes they are. You still accept them, accept them in a way. Your compassion, they might still, take them as the same way as you take the out of respect, or out of to no one to have to any, dispute or create any unfriendly ambience or like that. So it helps you, but it consolidate or establish your patience perfection. Okay, so and in other words, you become very patient person too. Okay, and this kind of thing will help you someone also. Even because my topic is just strictly for the compassionate now. So even that this compassionate, not only they can give you so many benefits in your life, and even when about to pass away, that itself, that so up to that kind of level of compassion if you can develop, can make you to be reborn to the heavens of the Brahma world. Okay. 那就是简单，我大概总归一下说。就是说，当然这样子的，不单是这个修这个悲呢，能让你有这个悲心的定也会让你实际上沾染了这个悲的功德当这个功德慢慢的这个增长跟广大，到甚至对你下面的人你以下的人都能做到对他没有分别那么这样的话呢，你就是实际上呢也建立了这个所谓天秤的。这个我们讲人秤跟天秤嘛天秤的这种的这个福报，而这个天秤的福报还不是一般的福报，而这个福报呢还是跟这个梵天是直接做联系的这就是悲观。Okay, but This is, I like to also, by addressing this, I like to also wanted to say, so Buddhism is not just a religion to talk about how you gain enlightenment. Okay. Buddhism actually, I like to say this because so many people have so many pictures about Buddhism. If you look at this part, then you understand Buddhism actually is the, if you take it as religion, means because there's an institutional organization, and then there is the religion that teaches how you can be a good person, and how even with that kind of good person you can develop more than that to go to a different kind of heavens, and even with more than that, how can you directly even go to, at least to Indian context, to the Creator God world. Okay. In other words, Buddhism is also care about how people are interested to go to heavens, okay, or care about the people who are interested to be a person, a good person. And maybe he doesn't want to go, I just want to come back here, fine, right? So, and then of course, I like to stress this because, and sometimes unfortunately, sometimes when I stress about this, people rebuke me, disagree with me, show very ugly face towards me. And there were many times, and then I'm not here because now you practice now, your mind is okay, Imagine your first day if I talk about this. What? But now you accept it, okay, whatever, at least you have whatever. At least this is my idea. No, because the opinion is so strong, everybody. It's, I'm sure now you practice up to this stage, so you can separate your opinions. At least you know, okay, you say I can keep my opinions. Even though you don't have the power to investigate what happened with your opinions, but that's fine. But you can separate it. Otherwise, then you'll be triggered by your opinions, and then that, without samadhi to, separate the two. So you always believe that is the one, that, no. But anyway, this is also, I like to say, is one of the big things lacking in Buddhism too. Because I'm saying this, okay, I shouldn't say this, say this way. Maybe I should use a better way to explain. At least to me, when I was become a monk, or even before I be a monk, of course the reason why I was interested in Buddhism is because of enlightenment, Nibbana also. I don't know what it is, but I just know it's a powerful thing. And then, there was a time actually I was kind of okay, because I think when my family, my parents didn't like me to join Buddhism, because in those days, unfortunately, in my place, if you learn Buddhism, you've been regarded as a very low, very uneducated, very superstitious, But I knew it's not, but, how can you explain that to them? You cannot. Because not in America, it's only, I think in America it's a different picture. Because at least in my area, is that people, even including myself, people go to the temple, it's just like joystick, oh, help my son, oh, now I give you $10, give me $1 million, like that. And then, so that's the image of the Buddhism is about. But then, I cannot hide this fact from my parents for a long time. So, but in order to impress my parents, I need to be, actually I was kind of lazy, but I had to try to become not lazy a little bit, and all sorts of things. Anyway, and then, but that's how it's forced me to change, to be more compassionate, I would say, and have more loving kindness mind. But then after, when the more I learn Buddhism, and I go chanting and all these sort of things, actually my mind become really lighting, I have the best thing in my life. So, and I always think when the people start to complain thing to me, tell me something, this is no wisdom. This is no mind. There's no brain. This is boring, And yeah, it's true actually, I have to say. Okay, that's the wrong word. I think it's somewhat true. But the difference is the mind. I'm saying, the mind, and the compassion is not enough. And then when I be a monk also, and after some times I find, there were so many times actually I could do better, but I didn't. It's because I don't cultivate much of the loving kindness and compassion. But I'm lucky, but in a way, lucky that I could get away. I thought I can get away, okay? But actually, when you get older, no. You don't get away. You have to face the same problem even you're a monk. Now, say one of the very, very practical thing, because if you don't have the compassion, say that if the compassion is not enough, so there are many things in the mind you won't able to recognize. And then that kind of many things in your mind, if you cannot see it, and you just always hide it, so for a very more advanced practice, it's the one that always there. Okay? So, and then that's also one thing, and I defend one thing too. But when the people, sometimes, especially some Mahayana, the wrong way of Mahayana thing, the Hinayana, no compassion, they don't know what is compassion, I'm sure, when they say that way, It's not possible because for someone, if they don't have a compassion or patience, you call, you could say the patient, if they don't have that, to be attain even the first level of sainthood, that's not possible at all. And to me, it's very clear about this thing. But of course, if you try the more time to practice a compassion, but then you enhance this kind of ability. That's why I say, yes, you can get by, you practice compassion, samadhi, and then that's enough for you, and then you want to pay more attention on other things. But you will find your samadhi is okay, you still practice the loving kindness samadhi, compassion samadhi, and then the joy samadhi, and then the equanimity samadhi. But somehow you also find when there's something problem, when something in our relationship, comes along, you still have to tackle very difficult, right? But if you ask me, what is the best way I should do? Maybe, you maybe run away, I don't know, that's fine. But if you cannot run away, what about? I mean, run away means because you don't want to spend the time to be, with that. Or what about if you unfortunately married to a jealousy wife, you know what I'm saying? Or something, a horrible husband. Okay, I don't want to talk this topic. You know what I mean? Somebody not really nice, but you have to face them, or maybe in the working, right? So we must find solution. And I think Buddha actually is very compassionate. So it's not just samadhi, I'm saying here. It is, even though you have a samadhi, you still have to be consolidate this compassion meditation. Then you still have the same samadhi, but because all the time you practice and utilize it all the time, use it all the time, okay? And then it will become a core patient perfection, you know what I'm saying? So at that time, it means that you can take everything just like a great land, okay? Okay, let me sum up in Chinese. 简单讲，中文就是说，不是中文，简单讲就是，如果一个人如果是说他不只是说，因为我在修慈心定、悲心定、这个喜心定跟舍心定，如果就算我们在修这个，如果你只是单纯是一个悲心的定来修，当然它是可以帮助你产生一个定转，但是它不一定呢。如果你没有一直在用这个悲心去继续在修在观的话，那么呢，那它就不一定会变成是一个，它虽然是一个基础但它就不会变成是一个忍辱波罗蜜，理解吗？因为为什么这么说？因为当它会成为忍辱波罗蜜，尤其在我们的生命里面，当然了，如果你遇到一些人对你没有办法，那你怎么样呢？当然你可以不要理了，你就离开了，所以你不需要去这个，但是你不能说那个人离开他就是没有修悲心定，他是有修悲心定，但是他就是没有继续一直用，理解？所以悲心定是你要一直在用，一直在修，一直在修，随时都在修。这样的话，如果你能修到之前我说的变成了，其实你认为因为我们慢性会在那边嘛，我就是比他高嘛，对不对？对不对？不管说好了，我的知识就是比你好嘛， 但是到你能做得到，甚至就是说，连你的知识比你好，那些无理取闹的人都你无理取闹，你都可以跟他忍辱的话，都可以起悲的话，一点都没有什么不会起嗔恚心升起的话，一点都不升起。当然你要修一个比你所谓知识比你高，或者是辈分比你高，当然你可能做得到。比较容易，跟你同等，肯定你也会考虑到很多，你可能会做得到，但是肯定比你差的你是很难做的，对不对？如果这一个比你差的，你认为比你差的，你都能做得到，当然这个就是一个忍辱的波罗蜜的一个基础。而这样子呢，也是我说佛陀很慈悲的，就是说不要说因为你有悲心定你就是这样，弄清楚吗？就是悲心定是一个，但是呢，如果要变成是一种忍辱啊。而且呢，简单讲就是要把这个悲心的定的这种修一直修下去，做得到变成是一个真正的悲，一个悲，而且是产生一个叫忍辱的话，那忍辱好，这就是佛教我们其实讲忍辱是这样子起来的。那么这样的话呢，那这个也是我们解决一个我们在世界上这个社会里面的一个问题的，解决我们社会问题的一个方法就是。Okay, I think I should stop now. And all right. I just want to go around. Is there anything I forget? At least, yeah. All right. I think I just stop now. Maybe best. Yeah, because I was thinking to talk something else, but it would be run too long time now. Okay, I'll leave it tomorrow. So right, yeah, I have 10 minutes break. Yeah, we should stop now. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so.